Hello, folks out there. This episode of the podcast is partnered by Audible. Greg, you know what I love about Audible?
What do you love about Audible,
I
John?
don't have to pick up a book anymore and carry it around with me. In fact, I carry it around in my phone, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. They literally keep thousands of titles right on your phone, accessible at any time when you're driving, when you're cooking, when you're mowing the lawn, changing a diaper, doesn't matter. It's all right there at your fingertips, John. They've got podcasts, they've got lectures, they've got some like health and wellness and like fitness series on there that if you just are looking for something to fill that gap, like you're not getting into a book right now, it's all there for you, man.
If you're a member, Greg, what's cool about it is you get 3 titles per month. The first one, you can pick whatever you want. Like I've said, I'll probably start hitting up some of those health and wellness books. And then what's awesome is they have 2 Audible exclusives. Exclusives, folks. You can't get it anywhere else.
It's true. That is very true. So if you guys want to get on the Audible train, you can go to audibletrial.com/JATG. That stands for Johnny and the Greg. Hook yourself up with a 30-day free trial. No promises, no nothing. If you don't like it, which I can't imagine you're not going to like it, you can cancel at any time. But the great thing about that is the books you get during your free trial, or if at any time, those books are yours. Like you get to keep them. You can listen to them nonstop, anytime, all the time.
Sounds like a deal to me, man. So if you guys are smart, like I know you guys are, because you already listen to this podcast, sign yourself up, guys. What do you got to lose? It's 30-day free trial, and it's books, it's knowledge. Gotta drink it up.
It is. It is. So one more time, it is audibletrial.com/JATG.
Greg, as we continue rolling through our positive momentum of January, we have on Kelly Marcinek.
Yeah, she was lovely.
She was. I was inspired by her story because I'm always inspired by people that have the ability to look into themselves, that aren't happy with themselves, be able to look into themselves and pull themselves out of whatever they're going through to make themselves better. So we sat down, we talked. She let us know where she's at, where she's going, and it was a lot of good. I had a good conversation with her. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Marcinek. 2, 1. Hello, Kelly. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. Thank you for doing
great.
this. I appreciate it.
You didn't get the memo on the shirt though, like you're
I
supposed
didn't. I know. I'm a little jealous. I feel left out here.
Well, Greg, do we have merch coming soon?
Sometime soon. Yeah, it's figuring out websites and vendors and things like that. But
Yeah.
yes,
All the fun
hopefully by
stuff.
the end of the month, I have
I
to
can't
talk to my
wait.
designer.
Cool. Kelly, the reason we had you on here is because I wanted to talk to you because I was, how do I say this? I'm a fan of what you're doing in terms of we have this in January. We're kind of doing this positive momentum. We're trying to bring in something real positive throughout the new year because last year fucking sucked. And I love reaching out to people who have taken their life by their own control and are moving forward with it in a positive direction. So I guess we'll just start with, I guess we can just start with basically, you on your post on Facebook, you were very raw. You posted a picture once when you had, you just had a very blank stare at your face. Your makeup wasn't on. And you said, "This is me. This is what depression looks like." Right? I thought that was really
Yeah.
super brave. I thought that was really, it's good because in Instagram and Facebook, you get your best selves, right?
Yeah, everything's
And-
curated.
Yeah, and I really admired the strength of you, posting that. So, can you mind going a little bit into that?
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up. So, I mean, I guess it all started, I guess, Johnny, you would know this, but like when my father died, that was kind of like, so that would be, what are we in? That was 13 years ago, almost 14 years ago. And that was kind of like the start of like, oh my God, okay, my life's changed. It's definitely going to
Yeah.
be different now, like moving forward. I mean, then throughout the last 14 years, I guess I've just dealt with like a spiral of emotions, a girl growing up without a father, just all in all, like throughout the years, I just had a lot of things that I kind of thought that I had to take on the role of being the man in the house, just because
Really?
I
And
felt that I was my father's child.
were you in
Ultimately,
like
like,
middle school, high school when this happened?
yeah, I was
College?
in seventh grade. Yeah,
Ooh, ouch.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
All right.
I'm 26 now, so yeah, or I'm 25 now. I'll be 26 next 2 months. Let's not age myself yet. Yeah, like, wait a second, hold on. But yeah, so kind of in college is kind of when I mean, being what I went from Chicago to Atlanta, and it was nice to finally be out on my own, kind of recreate myself. But I still had trouble finding myself, I guess, throughout
Of
the whole
course.
college experience. I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
And then a couple years, so that post I did like 2 years after. And I think one of the biggest things with depression is we do try to hide it. Like it's
Hmm.
not, everybody talks about it. It's not an illness that it's like, oh, I can't tell work. Like I can't come in today because
Right.
I broke my arm. Like it's obvious, or I can't walk today because I broke
Right.
my
Yeah.
leg. But like the emotional toll that depression really does take on people is far beyond. And that day, I was in a really good place earlier that day, like completely like mentally positive, whatever. But there are certain things that people can say to me that will completely shift my
Hmm.
energy, everything. And
Yeah.
somebody that was very close to me that knew kind of like stabbed me that day by the things that were
Mm.
said. And I remember I got home and I locked myself in the bathroom. I was sitting on the floor crying. That's where I took that picture. And I remember like I called my mom. And I mean, I've had my fair share of experiences in the past with, wanting to hurt myself. And I used to journal. My way of freeing myself from it is journaling.
Okay.
And I've written letters before, like telling people like I'm so sorry for like not being enough, just never feeling enough.
Hmm.
And I would get like deep into it. Whoever was the main people in my life at those times would be getting basically a shout out in those letters, kind of. And then that day, though, it was just like, I'm so sick and tired of putting on like you said, we use Instagram and Facebook as like
Hmm.
this time of our lives, so happy. It's all this great relationships, everything, but it's not always that.
Of
And
course
that
not.
post, like I put it on Facebook too. The amount of messages from people that I got that said thank you for posting that, because they like asked me to promise that I would never, share what they told me, but they were like, I don't have the guts to say that, but thank you for saying that for me,
Hmm.
basically. And they're like, we've gone through the same thing. I mean, there was actually a guy that reached out to me, and I went to high school with him, and he had gained a lot of weight, lost it all in an unhealthy way, and
Hmm.
then gained it all back. And literally, he messaged me that day, and he said, "It's my time because of what you just said." We had a conversation, and like now he's lost 150 pounds again, and like
Nice.
is happy. So it was like,
And he did it the healthy way this time.
yeah, and like
Very
kind of
cool.
just refound himself. He was like, I mentally wasn't there, but it was just like kind of cool to see. It's like just because I just decided to be raw that day, like it spiraled for other people too. So
So
yeah.
when you were reading those comments, you're in
Hmm.
that moment where you're in the bathroom, and did you start getting comments right away there, type of thing? Like,
Um, I remember like I don't think I really like was reading it right away. I just
okay,
posted it and like was just kind of like whatever.
Hmm.
Like I just
yeah,
left it there.
yeah,
It was just kind of like I think so hurt by what had happened and like what was said by that certain person, that it was just kind of like, okay, I got to figure this out now. Like I can't
Hmm.
be afraid to just talk to people. Like other people are going through this too. It's okay to
So
just put it out there.
so it sounds like your and I'm I'm a few credits shy of any type of medical degree to come out with this. But it sounds like you put a lot of pressure on yourself when you first
Mm-hmm.
when your father died. You put a lot of pressure on yourself to be
Mm-hmm.
something that maybe you weren't ready for, or something you
Yeah.
never had to be. And it seems like now that maybe through going out into college, and really in college, I think the best thing about college for me was figuring out who I am,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to be honest, I don't feel like I found out who I was until I had my daughter, to be honest, to be fully honest. And I'm like 40, and I just had her about 2 years ago. So, um, there's no rush in finding out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it. I forgot where I was going on with this. This was like a tangent, but
Okay.
going back to reading the comments,
Mm-hmm.
when you read those comments and you realized, wow, I'm really helping people. How did that help you? How did that change you? How did that flip a switch to you, or did it flip a switch to you?
I would say that it definitely flipped a switch and more like from that day forward, like I wasn't afraid to post certain things. Like
Okay.
I'm a huge like people use Pinterest for cooking and for, organizing things and just finding
Hmm.
ideas, but I genuinely use it like religiously every night for like quotes. Like I find quotes that like I will go sift through it for hours, honestly. Like even like lately it's been like more like Bible like biblical quotes and stuff, but I would find things that would like relate to me and then just posting something like that. Like there I would find the one that would really hit me. There was a lot that I would
Yeah.
save. There was always like every day there's one that would just hit me more and I'm like, okay, this is it for
Give me
today.
one.
Oh
Give
God,
me
I
one of your
haven't got
favorites.
let's see. I mean, I probably honestly from my so I actually have a whole let's see. I have obviously a lot of them saved,
I love
but
quotes too.
it's like
That's why I'm
my
asking you to
own.
do that.
Um, oh
As you're flipping through there trying to find
God,
one
yeah,
when John put you on the spot there.
yeah. No, you're
Um,
good.
so did the posting of those quotes and knowing now that you had an audience, you had people that
Hmm.
were, both supporting you and then also, maybe not exactly going through that journey with you, but going through their own. Did that
Hmm.
somehow energize you or give you more purpose to, I mean, because there are people that flip through Instagram, Pinterest, and stuff with no
Hmm.
purpose. I mean, did
Yeah.
that give you a little something like, hey, this what I'm posting today could actually be something that keeps
Hmm.
somebody going, keeps somebody from making a bad decision, something like that. Did that light a fire in you in those terms, or?
Yeah, like for sure, especially like basically like things that you just said. So I would it's hard to say like I was lucky enough to be this person in certain instances. I mean, people can say you were unlucky or lucky, but like I've actually throughout years been for two major and three probably total. I've actually been the person that someone's reached out to, like when
Mhm.
they were actually and I'm thankful that they reached out, but like that they were literally about to hurt themselves. Like
Mhm.
Oh,
they were
wow.
going to take their own lives twice. It was two different people, and the one like I will never forget from high school. Like I was lucky enough to be somewhere that I could tell people and they figured it out and like they got a hold of the parents and stuff. And the next day,
Mhm.
right away, before the bell even rang at school, they called me into the office and the parents were right there. And like I will never forget like the sound in the mom's voice and like her hugging me, thanking me for literally saving
Wow.
her son.
Wow,
Like
that's cool.
yeah. So it's like little things like that, like just throughout the year. So it's like posting stuff like that and people just reaching out. It's like nowadays we have all these influencers and bloggers and like it's like oh yeah buy this and this but it's like okay at the end of the
Mhm.
day we can buy all those things and be happy but like this to me is like the most like if I don't care that I don't have a million followers like but influencing certain people that need to hear it like in the ways that I post stuff means like
Mhm.
the world to me. So yeah, like actually like one of the quotes that I saved it like is more meaningful to me, I guess, now. Like it says, you ever stopped and just thought, wow, I prayed for this. It's here. It's happening. So I guess I don't know if we want to get into this now, but like so 6 months ago of me moving to Tampa,
Actually,
like it
yeah,
was
I wanted to get to that because I
yeah.
feel like that was a huge jump for you. I think that's a huge jump for anybody that's
Yeah.
leaving what you know to go
Hmm.
on to kind of an adventure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So go ahead, dive in.
So I guess, you know, so to summarize, like 2020 for a lot of people was really bad. Like you said it in the beginning, like it was really bad. And I mean, I have people that got sick. I know people that, I couldn't see throughout the year that I hadn't seen in an entire year and still haven't seen. But 2020 to me was probably one of the best years of my entire life because quarantine hit and then things happened throughout quarantine. And I went from looking to just rent a house in Florida for a month just to get away, just have another like escape, I guess, from Atlanta. And then instead of that, I went to looking at buying a house. And I came down here actually for a couple days and searched around. And then I was like, I'm not really ready for that. But I knew that I wanted to come to Tampa. Like I knew that I wanted to move. So
Mhm.
I really just reached out. I just gotten hired for a brand new job. I saw that they had an office here versus in Atlanta. And I just kind of grew a pair. And I said, hey, can I take it at the Atlanta or at the Tampa office versus the Atlanta? And they actually said yes. And when they said yes, it was kind of like a oh shit moment. Like I now go. Like, okay, I
You
asked
asked
for
for it, you
it. Did
got
it.
it. Here we
Yeah.
go.
And then a month later, I was down here, and it was just kind of like everything that I want. Like it was when I moved here. It's like I felt like I left a lot. Like people say that they carry their baggage with them. I feel like it all stayed in Atlanta. Like
So
I feel,
it was literally a new beginning for you. That's how
yeah,
you felt. Like
yeah,
slate is that am I using the right term, Greg?
yeah,
The
like
slate
Clean
is
slate.
clean.
Yep.
slate,
Yeah,
yeah.
clean slate. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's interesting because I had that happen to me when I was offered a job in Georgia, in Buford, Georgia, which is I
Hmm.
think a little bit.
I know that. Yeah.
Oh, you know it? Okay.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
And I remember, I think I was working at Walgreens. I was miserable. I don't think I was just absolutely miserable. And I thought, you know what? I better grab this now. I'm young. Let's see what happens. And it's one of the best things I did because it really cemented the relationship that my wife and I have. And that's what I got out of Georgia. Really was that when the chips are down, I know that me and her, we don't fight. We pull together. So we could be really upset at each other, and if something comes up where we need to be adults and we need to pull together and be a family, we do that without any type of like little jabs or something like that. You know what I mean? Or there's
Hmm.
never a, well, you're drowning. You figure it out by yourself. We're
Hmm.
never like that. And that really showed me that, okay, this is the girl I want to spend with. So I understand the clean slate and I understand the adventure
Hmm.
in it. But with someone, and please forgive me, I'm completely ignorant when it comes
It's
to
okay.
mental illness and depression,
No.
because in the beginning of my adulthood, I always looked at depression and mental health as a almost like, hey man, get over it. Like, look,
Hmm.
everybody has hard times, everybody gets depressed. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand how someone could not mentally get themselves out of something. I'll give you an example. My mother was an alcoholic,
Hmm.
and just when everything was going great in our lives, she would go to the bottle. And I never understood how could you just mentally, how could you not just look at a bottle and say, if I drink this, it's going to ruin my life,
Hmm.
and then just put it away. I could never figure that out. And to be honest, I struggle with that a little bit now.
Hmm.
But so when someone like you, or I shouldn't say someone like you, when someone has depression and they go off on an adventure, how much self-doubt are you battling?
So like it's hard. Yeah, and it's what's crazy is like I mean, trust me, like I get it. There's a lot of people that just don't understand. I mean, I myself deal with it, but I'm also like I was an athlete. There were times during games that I'm like, get your shit together. Like to a teammate or somebody would say that to me, and you're just like you don't really think of it as deep as it really is. Where it's like, okay, they tell you to leave your stuff at the door and play the game
Yeah.
or whatever. But like I mean, it becomes like there's times that it's like you're just it's not even like you're tired your body so like you're just exhausted, you're
Mhm.
drained. And like you just sit there. It's hard because it would change. I mean, like to be raw and real, like when I say that there was time like how I knew that I was going to hurt myself is like there was I don't even want to say, there was a spot on the highway that I just said, if it's going to happen, like I'm literally just going to swerve. Like I'm going to swerve and I'm going to hit that wall. Yeah, like I had where like I was going to swerve and I was going to hit that wall. And every day I passed it every day. And I just said, like, on those days where it was really hard, it was just kind of like, okay, like, I don't know, if I just kind of let go and just like kind of turn a little bit and it was an accident, then it's like, but like, it's like, there's just days that you're like kind of floating. Like, honestly, most of high school, when I look back, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I floated through. There's times that like, I can't even, like, it's like I blocked it out of my life. And it's weird. I've actually had a conversation with somebody that kind of told me the same thing happened to them. Like, I cannot recall things that happened like during a certain time because you just get so drained. And like you at those times were doing things to mask these problems, these issues, that now it's like looking back, you're like, why did I do those things? But then you blocked them out because you knew that they were wrong to be doing. I don't know. It's just like having a shitty day, but that it lasts for months, basically. Yeah.
I've had people close to me deal with very similar issues. And like, there was a time in their life where they had their tree picked out. Like it was, that's the one that if I drive into it really, really fast, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's scary coming from someone who loves you. Like when you're hearing that and you love them, you're like, oh my God. And even before you've entered into their life, they're like, there's a point in my life where this was it. And you're like, that was before I even met you. Like everything that we've shared wouldn't be here. But then the insight that you can gain from getting through that, and there's a couple different quotes. The idea of because you had mentioned the Bible, so I feel pretty safe going there. We've kind of always leaned on the idea that who God hurts the most, or I can't remember how it goes. Who God hurts the greatest, he's going to use the most, or something along those lines. So all that hurt that you experience, the loss of a parent, the following depression, and then that climb out of it, that is all training. Like in athletics, you're training for the game. You don't know what the game's going to be, but it is that idea that you have mentally persevered so that you could be of service to someone who's going to be in that same spot, and you're going to say, I get it. Like I've been there, and you're going to be able to help them through, be it through Instagram or through an actual personal relationship.
That's very cool, Greg.
I think the one quote similar to that one that you just said is that God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. And that one is one that I carried for a long time. And I mean, I'll be honest and real about God too. Like I have struggled with that for years.
Sure.
But like, I'm like because I was always like, why? Like after my dad, it was a spiral of people. Like I had a section in the real reason the depression just kept going is there was a section in my closet for funeral clothes because I was losing people that often. And it just became like, it was just kind of like, I look back now and I'm just like, it became to the point where you don't even cry anymore at funerals because it's just so normal. It was normal for a period of time that it just became like, who's next? And it sucked to think like that, but it just, I think that's why now I learn now that it really like every day matters. Like, and you can't think about tomorrow and what happened yesterday is over with. Like you only have today. So that's also made it more positive.
When it comes to people that attempt or succeed in suicide, I mean, that's tough. And a lot of people, like, there are people out there that when they hear about that, they think of that as such a moment of weakness. And it's like, well, one, the incredible strength it takes to even attempt that act is off the charts. Like, no one can really perceive that unless you've been there. But then the other thing is that idea that it's not that they're trying to run away from their problems. It's not that they just want like that pain, that suffering. They just want it to be over with. Like they just want that release, and they think that that's the way to go through it. Now I'm happy to say that, there's always somebody there that you can reach out to, whether I guess when you're in that spot, it's so dark and you're like, there's nobody there. There are. I mean, you just gotta, like you said, throw it out to the universe. And then people started showing up. And you're like, oh, there are people out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kelly, I think when you sent out one of your posts, I responded back to you, and that's how we started this conversation. Was
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you ever listened? Did you ever get a chance to listen to Laura Coconato on our?
I think I listened to some of it. Yeah.
Okay, because I thought she
Because I
had
think
a.
you responded to the tattoo one. I think that was the one.
What was that?
I think you responded to the tattoo one that I posted when I got one of my most recent
Yes,
tattoos.
you have a explain your tattoo. I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So show it and
Yeah.
explain it.
So I mean, it's kind of I have to go get it touched up, but because it's been peeling. But so I mean, I can
That was
kind
a
of read
little
what I
butterfly
wrote.
for people that can't
Yeah.
that are hearing us
Yeah.
audibly. Yeah.
If you're not
So
watching.
so yeah, it's a butterfly, and then the body of it is a semicolon. And so
I was looking it up.
yeah,
Semicolon.
yeah. So the semicolon is a form of like people that battle with depression. So basically, what I wrote in my post was that if you look closely, the body is a semicolon. The semicolon tattoo represents someone that could have ended their story but chose not to. It's a symbol of solidarity with those fighting depression, suicide, and mental illness. The butterfly to me is a symbol of something ugly that evolves over time. So, like, I actually had to do this exercise. I mean, a lot of people, nobody really knows this, but I had to do this exercise when I was dealing heavily with losing my dad. And for lack of a better term, like they were kind of put me in like this hypnosis and kind of thing. And
Okay.
I like the way that they talked to me, they said, so like think of yourself like basically it's like you're standing at the edge of the forest, kind of. You're like in a field. This is how I looked at it. And then like your dad is in the forest. You can't really see him, but he's there. You know that it's there. And then it was kind of like the way that it flipped, it's like they said whatever you can see now is like the form that you see him in. So I saw him in the form of a monarch butterfly, like in that like years ago. So like now it's weird because like I'll be places randomly and kind of be struggling or having a bad day, and literally a monarch butterfly will fly out of nowhere and or just come across. And it's like, I mean, 14 years later, you're not thinking about that person every day. I mean, days go by that I love and miss my father, but like you're not always thinking about it every day. And it's but like it'll be like that little moment that butterfly will fly by and I will literally say out loud like, hey dad, or like I know that he's here. So like that tattoo, like mixing those two together was like I've survived this so far, like this. And then but the butterfly on the other side is like, well, I see that butterfly like as a light too, and it's like those wings and it's coming out of something that was really ugly, so it's kind of forming a lot of different things together. So to me that was a big one.
So with Laura Coconato, what I was trying to kind of transition to was the fact that she looked at it as like depression. She looked at depression as her body or her spirit or her soul trying to tell the rest of you, like your mind, your body, that something's not right. We got to communicate. We're losing communication with each other. Something's off. We got to figure this out. Right. And she used that as more of instead of, I think, what a lot of people do, because I can imagine now, after I've been educated more on depression, that, while you're depressed that you're depressed. You're like, oh shit, I'm doing this again.
Well,
and
that's that cycle. It just keeps repeating itself.
Yeah. And instead of Laura figured out, and this is what I interpreted from our conversation with her, was that she figured out that, okay, this is a time to communicate. It's not a time to feel sorry for myself. It's a time to communicate, really dig deep into who I am and figure out like what's going on. And I feel like you might have done that and you started doing that. So I'm kind of transitioning to your transformation, how you showed a couple of weeks ago, which, by the way, I'm just letting you know, you were beautiful before your transformation and you look great now. But either way, I see nothing wrong with the before or the after. But what I was impressed with was you wanted to make a change for yourself and you took control of your life and you made a change. So what did you do?
Yeah, so I think like a big goal of mine moving down here to Florida. Let's be real. I mean, down here, people like majority of the year are in bathing suits. So
What?
that was like Yeah. So everybody being at the pool all day and like, I mean, for somebody my age, you see these girls that are like, you want to look like that, or you want to be like that, and just whatever. So it was kind of like, I remember one day I made a really good friend here and I just texted her and I said, that's it. Like, I'm done. For the last years, I've made these excuses. Like, I'm going to work out. I said, I'm changing. I literally texted her and said, I'm done being fat. Like, I don't want to be fat anymore. Like, to me, I just wasn't comfortable. I felt like I was like out of body kind of thing. Like, I felt like I was trapped in a body that just wasn't me, and I wasn't happy. It wasn't a matter of like, people were like, you look fine, like you're athletic, like that's it. It was like, no, this just isn't me. I was not happy, and that creates its own form of depression. Like, you just feel trapped. And so basically from that day forward, I reached out to a friend who's a trainer, and he helped like write plans for me and stuff. But it was, at the end of the day, it was me. I mean, I will take the full credit. Like, I every single day made it a habit that I go to the gym. Like, my dog would wake me up in the morning to go outside. Before I would get up, like before we go outside, I'd put my workout clothes on, because then I knew, like, if I put those on, take him out, come back, I'm going to go to the gym. If I didn't, and I'd come back, I'd sit on the couch or whatever, and time would go by and I'd waste my time. But like now, like, I crave getting up. Like, now even I get up at 6 o'clock and go to the gym every day, and it's like never
Okay,
in a
so you
million
go to the
years.
gym.
Yeah.
Okay, my
Every
Aunt
day.
Carol assumed you walked all this off.
No, I mean, with my job, so I actually do door-to-door sales too. So I do a lot of walking.
Wow,
during
that
the
is
day.
a tough job.
It is. But it's
Wow.
actually, I honestly can't believe it, but I love my job. Like,
Let me ask you a question real quick.
yeah.
I know we're going a little off track here, but
No, it's okay.
that's an incredibly tough job, especially during a
Yeah.
pandemic,
Yep.
to be walking
What are
around
you
knocking
selling
on.
door to door?
Windows.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's
Yep.
yeah. Yep. It's in my opinion, it's very rewarding for the fact of like what we're doing now. The amount of people that I get to meet on a daily basis, and like,
hmm
I mean, there's different ways to be good at this job. I mean, it's weird, I know, but it's like the way that I am actually successful with this job is the people that I connect with and like genuinely want to talk. And like, I have met some pretty incredible people that I will never forget. Like, it's weird, but it's just like all from just knocking on their door. Like, it's, yeah.
Okay, forgive me for this,
It's
Kelly. Forgive me for
interesting.
this.
You can
Forgive me
ask
for this
anything.
one point. I'm going to ask you this because I asked this of anybody that goes door to door or goes into other people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
First question: have you found a hoarder?
But I don't go inside any homes.
You don't
We
go
stay
inside.
outside.
Knock
I
Okay.
on the
only
door.
stay on the
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
All right. So then the last question is: did you ever get a creepy vibe like, oh, this dude's a serial killer? I got to get out of here.
Yeah. Occasionally, there's like, yeah, I'm gonna skip that house. I hope none of my bosses are listening because we don't skip houses. But yes, so absolutely.
Well, public
No, but
safety
I
is an
mean,
important thing.
yeah. No, but yeah. I mean, you kind of know when you shouldn't. But I definitely stand like, it helps that this pandemic is kind of a thing because I keep my distance, but it even more, I'm like, okay, yep, this is just a greater excuse to stay even further back from the door.
All right.
So,
I always ask that because.
yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
I say I still find that I find it amazing that people are still going door to door. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, maybe because it's Florida, and I'm thinking like retirement community kind of stuff. But then there's people in Florida that are not retirement age too. So I know in my subdivision, if any door to door style salesman comes knocking on doors, it is immediately on the Facebook page, the community subdivision Facebook page, of like, hey, so and so's coming around, watch your doors. I mean, everything, and I'm like, usually it's like a college kid and it's in the summer and he's selling like pest control or something like that. I'm like, this kid's just trying to make a buck. So I'll open the door, I'll talk to him, because when someone like me answers the door and I'm taking up the entire door frame, and I'm like, no, thank you. I mean, they so.
No, yeah, it's an interesting one, but it has its rewards too. So it just depends on how you look at it, what you make out of it. So,
well, I think that's how we'll transition back. So I think when you're sitting there and it's how you look at it, it's how you view. I've come to this understanding that you can't control a lot in life. The only thing you can really honestly control is your attitude and your effort. That's about it. Other than that, everything else is kind of out of your control. So going back to what are the things that you started doing that help, like you said, like you would put on your workout clothes and that way that would automatically motivate you to go. So with your job, you were able to, because my aunt said that you did this incredible transformation walking 10 to 15 miles a day.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
Okay, I thought she got that wrong. But to be
I
honest,
mean, there
it kind
are
of
days
helped.
that I walk 10 miles. There are days that I am
Okay.
walking 10 miles a day. So,
I'm doing this
yeah.
thing. My wife just introduced this to me on the phone where you can figure out how many steps you take. Your phone
Oh, yeah.
track
Oh
of
yeah.
that.
Oh,
I'm
trust me.
I
That's how I figured. I've realized that
okay.
we walk a lot.
I figured I've gave myself this challenge in January to not drink, so I'm going dry, and I'm gonna try to average around 12 to 15,000 steps a day. All
Okay.
right. It's a lot harder than you actually
Mm-hmm.
think it is to actually do
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
Well, I have a desk job. I
yeah.
struggle to hit 6,000 a day
Oh, you
some
keep
days.
track of it.
Well, my watch does
Oh, okay.
automatically. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're sitting here and I'm focused in and I'm doing my job,
Yeah.
and then it's one of those things where I'm like, I got too much shit to do. I'm gonna eat lunch at my desk, all that stuff. I actually went as far as to turn off. My watch has a thing like every, I don't know if it's every like 2 hours or something. That's like, hey, you haven't gotten
Yeah.
up in a while. You need to get up and do something. Especially when we were in the office, I'm like, I ain't got time for that shit. And I had to like turn it off because I'd be like in a meeting or doing something. I'm like, I can't do a 60-second plank right now. And and I would just stop. I'd be like, I turn it off. And it stayed off like this whole year during COVID. I'm like, and it just hit me as John was talking. We've had a couple fitness discussions lately, and I'm like, there's no reason I can't turn that thing back on when I'm at home if I'm not on a video call,
Right.
or even some of the video calls I'm on where I'm like, I'm not actively participating at the time. I could turn my camera off, do a 60-second plank. I could do that. So anyway, I don't know where I was
So
going with
yeah,
that, but yeah.
so on Thursday, so yeah, and just an example, I was trying to find the whole thing, but on Thursday, I walked 18,113 steps
Wow.
in one day. In one day,
In
yeah.
one day. That
So
it actually gets a
that
little
helps.
tiring. And I'm sure you're
Mhm.
carrying stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, not much. Let's see, where's the? It's 9.1 miles
She's not
total.
like hefting a window around.
No, yeah. No. I'm not carrying much. It's not
You
much,
got a
but
window on
yeah,
your back, be like,
no.
hey, how you doing? Have you heard of
Yeah,
Bella?
exactly. That's actually who makes our windows. There
Is
Tell
it
you
them,
really? Okay.
go.
yeah. Tell them to drop me a line. I can't figure out how to inject my screen. I can't take the damn thing off the track. I haven't figured it out yet. That's another thing. Don't worry about it. Anyway, um, but Kelly, going back to, I'm curious, when you started getting on track with your diet and
Mhm.
exercising, did you start noticing any type of change with your depression right away? And did you notice that? What do you think it was more the food, or do you think it was more exercise, or was it just a combination of both?
I would say, I mean, it's definitely a combination of both. I mean, I will never be one of those people that counts my macros or whatever, counts, measures, and does everything with my food. I
I
love
hate
food.
that shit.
Like, yeah, that to me is just like, I'm not a scientist. I'm not here to decide. Like, I mean, I
Right.
literally have a bag of M&Ms in front of me right now. So I eat cookies, I eat pizza, but it's like, it became more of like the working out, like getting in the habit of going every day was like, okay, like I felt good. Like I felt like, okay, in the morning, here I am working out. It's giving me this extra, like,
Mm-hmm.
get your endorphins going and you're just ready
Yeah.
to go. And then it like doing it every day. And then after so long, kind of hearing people like say to me, like, Kelly, you're losing weight. It was kind of like I was not able to lose weight for a long time. Like I was making excuses and still eating crap, but like finally like toning it down and like taking it down to the core and being like, okay, I need to eat these vegetables, or I love cheese. I never wanted to give up cheese. I'm actually allergic to dairy. So I started finding all the alternatives and
How did
just,
you know that?
I did a lot of tests. There
So
was a
you did
couple
one of those
years.
blood tests, right, where it tells you like what
Yeah.
affects you, what doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been
I did
wanting to do
blood and
that.
allergy and all that. Yeah.
I've been wanting to do
I mean, it's been a couple years since I did one. So I actually want to do it. There's a new one now, I guess you can do that tells you all your ancestry too, things that could be an issue with you.
Yeah, that's 23andMe.
Oh, is that 23andMe?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one I did.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So, any vitamins you take? Anything like that to substitute what you might be not missing, where you might be missing in your diet? Like any?
Yeah. So now that's kind of like my focus. I'm trying to get into that now and like find all these like my kick lately has been like the juicing stuff. Like people do these juice cleanses and stuff and spend $1 million on it, but like, so there's like activated charcoal. That's been like my thing that I've, and then blue. It's like
what's activate? Whoa, time out here now.
So it's like
we're a learning show.
I know there's two
What's
things that I'm
activated
on right now.
charcoal?
Yeah. So actually, my mom being a nurse, I actually asked her about it, and she was like, "That's actually what they use to detox all the druggies in the hospital. I mean, they give them charcoal, but it's so activated charcoal is good for like, it's good for your skin. Like you can use it for masks. You can use it. People use it in toothpaste. It whitens your teeth. I guess there's multiple, but it's a good detox for your body. So like, I mean, I was finding these places that you're paying $8 a juice, and I was like, okay, there has to be some way. Like I can order it myself. For the bag was $20, and now I'm making it at home. But like, I'm kind of getting into like finding all these more natural things that I don't drink that stuff every day. But
are you doing the charcoal as like a pill, or are you actually?
No, I actually have it in the powder form, and I make it like with like I squeeze lemons with it, and then coconut water. You put some like cayenne pepper in there. That's supposed to help you too. Yeah, it's just that's kind of like been my thing lately. But like I'm trying to get into the more vitamins. I kind of take like just a multivitamin just to kind of help a little bit. But
yeah, I've been trying to get a vitamin expert on this podcast because I don't think anybody knows what to take really.
Exactly.
And I think that's such a fascinating part. But I also I want to know if like are we wasting money and we're just pissing it all away? Like,
yeah,
there was a vitamin company, and it was I can't remember the name of it, but it was tied in with an MLM, a multi-level marketing. So like you become the rep, and then I go sign you up, and then you go sign Kelly up, and it was one of those kind of things.
There's this new fruit in South Africa that we extract. But
it was all vitamin based. Like it was we're going to sell you vitamins, and the big thing that they had, one of their major selling points was, they show you the petri dish, and here's one like the regular store-bought vitamin, and then here's ours, and theirs dissolved much more quickly, and they're saying your absorption rate with ours is better because it dissolves in your stomach faster, whereas opposed to this one won't even fully dissolve, and then you end up expelling it from your body. And I'm like, that's a pretty good selling point, but I mean that was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That was the selling point. I gotta imagine Walmart's caught up by now.
Yeah, I mean, even like it's funny. Like I know everybody has their opinions on those MLMs. I mean, to be honest, like I've done my time, kind of do occasionally with one of those companies. It's
me too.
Like I don't know, most with Arbonne. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but that's actually like so that's actually like the powder multivitamin that I take every day. But I'm also like I like them because of how natural like the stuff is. Like they're a certified B Corporation. Like they actually invest a lot of money in it being more natural. And like I can't do like, so in the mornings I make a lot of smoothies, but I put the protein powder in there, and theirs is all plant-based pea protein versus whey and all those things. Yeah. Just my stomach. Actually, I think the one thing that scared me away from a lot of protein is when I used a whey protein, I kind of like forgot about it, that it was in my car. Like I forgot that I brought it with me one day a couple years ago, and I took it in and I dropped it on accident. It spilled everywhere. Like
no!
And I saw what it looked like, and I was just like, how do I put that in my body? Like just the way that it like, yeah. And I was just like, okay, yeah, that's just not. My stomach clearly doesn't like that. And then the natural stuff is more my route.
So when you go to the gym, what are you doing? Are you doing like a CrossFit functional fitness type thing? Or are you just like Mondays, Tuesdays, or Mondays you hit upper body, Tuesday, lower body? Like what are you doing?
So for the last 5 to 6 months, I was doing like my body responds better to weights. Like I'm more of a weight based.
Right.
So every day I do a different body part in essence. So like Monday would be legs, Tuesday would be arms, then like back,
Right.
thighs, all of those. So, but I actually just switched to a new trainer. Like I
Okay.
love my old trainer, like everything, but it was time for sure to increase it. I mean, my brother is actually a Navy SEAL, and he was the one that kind of said like, hey, he's taking on new clients. So I was like, oh, great, just what I want. Somebody that trains Navy SEALs. Yeah, okay. No, I came to find out that my trainer actually, I don't know the whole story, but he was born without one of his hands or like his lower arm. And like he didn't even tell me that. But then when I saw his Instagram after we talked, I was like, wow. I was like, this even makes it even better. But like, I'm starting a new program with him tomorrow. We did but yeah, again, I basically isolate a different body part every single day.
Okay.
So.
Cool. That's good. Have you ever given like so you don't do functional fitness, like you don't do compound movements, you just do like one movement. Like so you just do like a bicep curl instead of a squat clean. Or
It literally just changes. I mean, I don't even know
okay,
what
so
what
okay,
I'm
all right.
doing.
So
Yeah, it
just
really
change it.
changes all the time. Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
pretty sure this one's going to change it like every 1 or 2 weeks. So it'll
Yeah.
be something different all the time.
This
Yeah.
is something I like to bang Greg
Yeah.
over his head about a lot. How's your sleep?
Sleep is like a big thing to me. Like,
Yeah.
like
How big is it?
especially,
How important is it, Kelly?
oh, it's very important. Like I will not survive or thrive without my sleep.
Huh.
Yeah.
Would you say
Like
you
Very
honestly,
almost
right
important.
now, I know.
die younger if you don't sleep?
I mean, I don't know all the facts, but it was funny. I actually my neighbor was over watching that game, who's also a Packers fan. There you go.
Okay.
But I was like, I would be asleep right now, honestly, if we weren't doing this. Because
Yeah, thank you. I know this is 10 o'clock for you. You know,
I
this is
always
putting
forget
your
about the time.
bedtime. Yeah.
No, we're fine. But like, I think more of like getting up at 6 o'clock too. It's more like makes you like, okay, you have to go to bed by like 11, like 10 or 11, like just to get you that extra. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna wake up at 6. You always also have to change your nightly routine a lot earlier too, and be like, okay, well, we got to eat earlier. We got to get all
Right.
this stuff done so that you can wind down kind of at the end of the day.
Okay, so here we are, Kelly. It seems like you're in this mode where you are now you're very disciplined, you got a structure set in place, you're feeling good, you're feeling great, but all of a sudden self-doubt comes in. Or that one fucking asshole comes up to you and says like, "Do you really need that extra cookie?" Like says some bullshit thing to you like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have these, I don't know what you would call them, these things that could stop
Like
you from
triggers.
going down the wrong path and get you back on track in terms, I'm talking about mentally or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So when you feel that
Yeah.
self-doubt coming in back to you or that little,
Mm-hmm.
I always picture depression like this smoke monster behind you just whispering
Mm-hmm.
negative shit in your ear all the time.
Yeah.
How do you get rid of him?
So, I mean, to be honest, I mean, like I still have my times. Like I kind of
That's
brought it up
good.
earlier that I like to journal a lot. I actually, but the biggest thing for me also is I have a playlist on Spotify, and it's literally called Those Songs. And like it's just for years. I mean, I add to it here and there, but like those songs get me like I'll be emotional, and I allow myself to be emotional. And I will sit there, I will listen to those songs, and then I will be on Pinterest actually looking at quotes, and like when ones hit me, I rewrite them on my journal. Like in my journal, I rewrite them in my own form. So it's basically like making it relating it to myself.
It's internalizing it, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, as for like people making comments like eating wise here and there, it's like now to me it's like no, like this whole week has been a really, for lack of like, a shitty week at work. But also like I've really come to terms with like the amount of things that I've dealt with in my entire life. Like I could be negative. I was a negative person for many years. And looking back, I'm like, okay, now I know why certain things ended up how they did or vice versa. But like I now can look at every day and be like, I have to be a positive person today. Like I can't just let this stuff, I can't dwell over the little things that I just can't change. And like what's happened before, like people say no to me. I'll knock on 100 doors and I'll get 100 no's. But like that next one that's gonna say yes to me, it's like, okay, here I am. Like this whole week was a bad week of knocking on doors. I mean, I had swollen knuckles, and it's like, okay, I've been knocking on these doors clearly, but like nobody was being responsive. But it's like I could dwell on that, but it's like we just got to keep going. Like you just got to give it the next one, or
No, yeah,
like
I 100% agree with you. I think, when you sit there and say you got to keep going, you got to stay positive. I've actually tried to apply that, and what's really fascinating to me is how often I will actually say a negative comment. Like I think Greg, you and I think we're both pretty positive people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But if you start, you try to be. But if you all of a sudden take inventory on what's coming out of your mouth or how you're handling a situation, like at least for me, I'm speaking for myself now. Like I think it was last week I was really paying attention to it, and I was like, damn, man, you're looking at things kind of negatively. Like, you got to start really like looking at this as half full type stuff versus anything else. Funny thing, I'll help you with a sales technique. A guy once told me to try to get 10 no's. And his whole thing was if you're trying to get 10 no's, somewhere in that line, you're going to get 3 or 4 yeses, and that's going to make the difference or something like that. So you can give that a shot. Try to get 100 no's in a day. See what happens.
Yeah. Well, even like going off of that part too, like that really like was like, what? I got it. Like last week we got like awards for the last like 6 months of work or whatever. They gave out like 2020 awards kind of. And they have these 4 words like of, basically the company and who represents what in each office. And they actually picked me for optimism. And I was like, wow, okay, that to me was huge because being someone that's been very negative, like to know that they look at to me as like the person that is bringing the positivity. And even when we're having those shitty days, like I'll throw something out there and just be like, just keep going, or like whatever it is. That was like huge to me to be like, okay, you're really actually showing people it doesn't matter. Like those shitty days, shitty weeks.
A pretty common trait for people that have suffered through depression and then are either winning the fight or have already beat it, is because they know, and you can, I'm just guessing, but I bet you can see it in other people when just something like your spidey sense starts tingling. You're like, there's something up with them today.
Absolutely.
Like they didn't, that woman over there, she just needs a hug. That's what she needs. And you can go over there and you can say something nice, or any little compliment that you can put out, and that's what makes her day. And then you also get the validation of, I was right. Like that was she needed something, and I was there, and you could see that.
Like being in my industry, like I'm one of, now there's 2 other girls in the office. Like girls don't want to do this job. For one, a lot of people are scared, and I get that, but like, or they're just not confident to go up and knock on somebody's door. You get over that. You get over that fear after a while. But like, so the biggest thing with me though is like the guys that are in my office. I mean, we're all pretty young, but like they look to me as like a sister. And like I could not ask for more supportive coworkers to work with. But like, so the way that it goes is we're partnered with somebody like for a week. Like I walk with the same guy for a week. And so I've worked with a few of them that they'll just kind of look at me, or I'll know when they're off. And like there was one, I just knew something, and I pulled him aside for like 45 minutes, and he just told me everything. And then I had another one that he's like, can we just talk first? Like while we're walking down the street, like, can we just stop for a second and like, can I let it out? And it was just like knowing that people can like look at me and trust me like that, or if I can just pull it out of them a little bit, and then they just feel better and have told me later on, like, thank you for doing that, because it just makes them think more. And they're like, okay, we know something's off. And finally somebody else is realizing it and helping. Like it shows, it's just another way of showing, hey, like somebody does care. And there's people here.
Yeah. Do you, I can sense that you have a real passion towards this now because you've lived through it. You're like Greg said, like you're winning the fight. Now, I don't know if you ever beat it. I have no idea. I can imagine it can always creep up whenever it wants to creep up. Yeah, it just cycles. And it's just, you're going to, I almost feel like you're doing your routine and your structure to take on like the brunt of the storm. Because I can imagine that cycle is like a storm. Like you see it coming. right? You see things that are triggering you that, oh shit, here it goes. So you're batting down the hatches with your routine and your structure and, you know, getting yourself through that. Do you see yourself moving forward in this type of space when you're now? I don't know if you want to sell windows, you go to door the rest of your life. If you do, awesome. I'm just asking, can you see yourself moving forward in this type of arena to help a lot of people out there that need our help? Because I can't imagine 2020 did a real good thing for people with mental health. I can't imagine. I think it was probably really hard on a lot of people.
Yeah. So like through our company, like it's always like hard to explain like companies like this, like to outsiders more or less. But like this company, like what they have, like how they take care of their employees is like more than I could ever ask for. Like, and that's saying the least. Like they care about us. They don't like at the end of the day, they care about us more than anything. Like if I could like open up what's inside and show everyone, and they'd be like, wow, I want to work there too. Like I try to get people in all the time because that's how good they are. Like it's not just like, yes, I get it. It sucks to go knock on a door every day. Is that what I want to be doing? Absolutely not. Like, do I hate that part of it? Yes. But like the camaraderie and the people that I work with and for, it's like the way that they just go above and beyond. And like I've already had a conversation with higher ups that like I know by 2022, like I'll have created my own position with this company. Yeah. And that's like the possibilities that are there. And like that's what I've told them. I said, you know, a big thing that I care, like since I moved here and started working with them, I've said yes. So like anyone from the company that wants to hang out or like wants to go do something different, I've said yes. And that's how I've met so many people so fast. Because it's like if you're always saying no, then they're never going to ask you. It's a thing. Like if you keep saying no to somebody, they're never going to ask you again because they're like, well, she doesn't want to do anything.
Right.
And now it's like everybody asks me all the time because I like to bring everybody together. So that's kind of like the position that we talked about is like, I want to make sure the new people that are coming in, you know, they get to meet more people, or we put on events when we can do that again, and everybody can get together and just feel that belonging more. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, Kelly, any words for anybody out there that's listening that you think needs a hug? What would you say to them? What would you say in terms of people that have been in your place? Like any positive words you can give somebody right now that's listening to this?
I think like a prime example, kind of like, so something that happened yesterday, like I was with a couple of friends and I was with a friend and we were having a conversation, and like I was dating somebody for a little while kind of here already, and it was some negative things happened like towards the end, and it just wasn't a good fit, and I was just like, that's it. But like that person was like saying some bad things about me on the other side, but like I was able to look at my friend yesterday and be like, hey, listen, I hope that they're happy. At the end of the day, like I want everybody to be like, I could dwell on it and be like, no, he's an asshole, this, and this. I'm like, I'll always care about him. I cared about him for a certain period of time. Like I want nothing but the best for him. So like in all, like for everyone, it's like, I know how hard it is every single day, but like just finding those reasons. Like I wrote down my reasons why, and for everything, usually for jobs, people are like, why are you doing this? I think that would be my biggest advice is every day or like once a month, update those 5 reasons why, because they're always different. And I agree with that. They're always going to be different. I've done this a million times now. And when I look back at each one, it's like, okay, those were my reasons last year. These are my reasons now. Like, and I write it on a piece of paper, and it's above my, it's under my mirror. I can't think of the word right now. Yes, in my car. So it's like, I know that they're there, but then when you forget and you pull it down and you see that, then you're like, it's kind of like a slap to your face, but it's like, listen, like, what are my reasons why to keep going? Like my 5 reasons right now, I can tell you what's in the car because I looked at it, is that I want to be financially stable. I don't want to worry about money. I want to be able to have fun with friends and not have to think about, oh, I can't afford this right now.
Right.
Like I want to be able to pay my mom back money. Things that like she's still helping me. And at the age of 25, I'm like, I want to be able to do it myself, but like I want to be able to pay her back. Right. So it's just like, it gives you those, like when you can look at your reasons why, like that gives you like to keep going. So they can be as small, they can be as long as you want them to be. But like when you can physically like look at something those are like something to keep going. That's been like the biggest help to me. And I think if everybody does that every once in a while, it'll be like, it's kind of like a wake up call.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. I like it. Kelly, so here's what we're going to do next. Okay. We're going to switch over. We're going to go over to a little game that we like to play with all of our guests. It's called the Gauntlet. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know you're pretty competitive. All right. What we're going to do is I think the leader in the house, there's going to be 5 questions I'm going to give you. Some are appropriate, some are inappropriate. I don't know. I haven't looked at them yet. But Tina Santiago is the leader in the clubhouse, which she got 4 out of 5 right. Okay? So let's see if you can beat her. You ready for the gauntlet?
I'll do my best.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. What household item gets heavier over time because of the accumulation of 10 million dust mites over the span of 10 years? Is it A, a couch cushions, B, mattresses, C, bed pillows, or D, blankets?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Is it the couch?
I don't know. Is that your final answer?
Oh.
You mean couch cushions?
Yeah, the couch cushions.
You think that's what it is?
Oh, my goodness. Over 10 years? I feel like that's the only one out of those answers that you'd probably have for 10 years.
You want me to read them again?
Okay, yeah. And it can't
Okay.
be the pillows. It can't
Couch
be the...
cushions, bed pillows, mattresses, blankets.
Oh, goodness, it's got to be the couch cushions or the mattress. So we got to go 50-50 here. Goodness. I'm going to say the cushions.
Okay. You should have gone with the mattresses.
It is the mattress.
Yes. So people, after 10 years, throw your freaking mattress out.
Yeah, I get rid of mine faster than that. So, yeah.
All right. Not looking good so far, Kelly. Not looking
Oh,
good.
goodness.
Here we go. Here we go. Come on, get the eye of the tiger. Eye of the tiger. Here we go. Over 600 colonies of mold live on top of these items. Is it A, soda cans, B, milk cartons, C, water bottles, D, juice boxes? I'll repeat that again. Maybe I screwed it
Soda
up.
cans. Soda cans.
Soda cans. That's your final answer?
Wait, what? It was 600. What?
600 colonies of mold live on top of these items. Is it soda cans, milk cartons, water bottles, juice boxes?
Juice boxes? Oh, God. Can't milk cartons. Yeah, it's got to be the juice boxes.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Are you sure? You don't look like you're sure.
She's gun shy now. Come on.
Take it out. It can't be the cans. The cans are, I don't know. I feel like I think of like bugs. They always talk about the amount of bugs that are actually on top of those cans. I don't feel like it's mold because you'd really see it more. Oh, God. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Is it the cans? We'll go with the cans.
You are correct. It's the cans.
Okay, we'll go with
Is
the
it
cans.
really?
Yeah, I know they're
Yeah,
nasty.
it's soda cans. Keep
I
drinking,
would've
Greg.
went
600 colonies of mold.
I would have went
like-
with the juice boxes because they're cardboard, and I didn't think the
Yeah.
mold would live on metal.
I would have
That's what I was
thought
thinking
the
about too,
water
yeah.
bottle because, like, they're in the sun sometimes, and Like-
yeah,
I don't know.
I was thinking sugar content, which makes
Oh,
things
there you
grow.
go.
So I was getting
Yeah.
juice and
Okay.
juice or soda, but
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Roughly 7,000 people per year die due to what relatively fixable issue in the medical field? Is it A, doctor's sloppy handwriting, B, staff mixing up patients' names, C, failure to read medicine labels, or D, stethoscope malfunctions? How much of a malfunction can a stethoscope do?
Like,
I don't think it's supposed to go there, doctor.
Yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
operator error. What do you think, Kelly?
it's A or B for sure.
Okay, so you're just saying either doctor's sloppy handwriting or staff mixing up patients' names. Which one?
Probably the names.
Staff mixing up patients' names?
Mm-hmm.
You are wrong. It is doctor's sloppy handwriting.
Ah, see?
Really?
Yeah.
Close.
All right, here we go. 2 more. In 2011, 1/3 of all divorce filings in the United States contained which word? What? In 2011, 1/3 of all divorce filings in the United States contained which word? Is it A, Twitter, B, email, C, Facebook, or D, Snapchat? Do you understand this, Greg? I don't understand this question.
I do.
Okay.
I understand it, but I don't think Snapchat was out then.
They're saying the divorce, part of the divorce was blamed on one of those things. And so they had to name it in the divorce.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
For reasons.
It can't be email.
Facebook? I feel like Facebook.
Is that final answer?
Yeah.
You are correct. Facebook.
Because Snapchat wasn't out in 2011.
Facebook is so adult.
I'm trying to think, but I think I was in...
Rekindled relationships is what
is that why? Rekindling relationships?
I would say so. Or just people starting relationships.
Yeah, messaging other people.
Or like, you get back in touch with your high school sweetheart. You find out that he's been divorced and you're single or you're newly divorced or
it's
you're
just not working out at home.
Yeah. We're just going to go out for coffee and be fine.
Yeah. All right, Kelly, you ready? So, Kelly, you got 2 right?
Yep.
You got 2 right. All right, so here we go. You can go and this is for second place, Kelly, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. How many pounds of shit does the average person drop into a toilet each week? Is it A, 3 pounds, B, 6 pounds, C, 9 pounds, D, 12 pounds?
I'm going to say C, 9 pounds.
I feel like that's such a regional-based question.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is not 9 pounds. It is 6 pounds.
Okay.
That's disgusting.
Wow.
I mean, but I feel like that would, yeah.
You had to weigh it. Like, I mean, I know where we're getting these from, and I really question.
That is an excellent point. How do you know? Who weighed that?
Well, but you see, we live in a country where you can get a grant to do like almost any kind of medical research. I mean, I've heard of.
What do? They weighed the tank that it all fell into.
You could do water displacement.
Divided it by like 3 people live in that house, so
you could do it by and this is just going back to like middle school science. Like you mark the water line in the toilet and then you mark it before and then you observe it after and then how much it raised up, you can tell how much something weighs.
Aren't you glad you're on here, Kelly?
Oh my God. Like I just literally picturing.
That's probably a very legit reason how they measured shit.
Like I literally picture somebody shitting in a bucket for 365 days, weighing it. Like,
well, and to make it empirical, we need 5,000 people to do this.
Oh my God! Like,
there's your bucket right there.
Oh God!
Oh man, Greg,
college students.
He shit in the wrong bucket. All right, Kelly. Thank you very much for taking the time to come on here. For anybody that wants to follow you, Kelly, where will they follow you if you wanted them to? If you don't, that's cool. They don't have to. Instagram. Okay.
Keeping up with Kelly.
Keeping up with Kelly on Instagram. Hey, Kelly, good luck with the windows. Greg, any last words you'd like to tell the audience?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier when Kelly had somebody that said something bad to her. When you see somebody out in the world, you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what troubles they have. So just don't be a douche.
Yeah. And get rid of your mattresses after 10 years, people.
Yeah. And don't shit in the bucket.
And don't shit in the bucket.
And don't shit in the bucket. No matter what they say. Even if it's for science. For Kelly and the Greg, this is Johnny. Podcast out, people. Take care. Thank you.